Hey everyone, your girl is here. It says now officially 9:43. I wanted to come on and share. Obviously, I just got a whole bunch of exercise, almost to 23,000. I got 19,311, which is very, very, very close, honestly, to last Super Lush Life in June at this time. So anyhow, guys, I wanted to come on and get straight to the business here. So this one is wild, absolutely wild. Because literally, you guys remember, I think it was the day of. So it would have been the day of or the night after, like the night of, or, well, again, those are the only two options. So yes, it would be one of those two for when I had taken that picture in the office, which obviously when it comes to like supernatural signs, obviously sometimes they're not seen or like entirely seen, or you just brush them off until the big thing happens. So obviously the total solar eclipse, right, signals a new start. That obviously signaled a new start that night, because little did I know it was just a week until my grandfather died very suddenly, right? And you guys already know the story, right? So that is absolutely insane that those little signs were not even known by me. And really, they had no way to be known. I had no way of understanding, right? You know, what was going to happen in a week, right? Because again, it was very sudden that my grandfather had died. So yes, guys, that is absolutely insane. Because you guys remember last year, right, in 2025, it was right after I came back from the Shenandoah National Park, right? One morning after a run. I think it was a Saturday morning. I'm pretty sure it was a Saturday morning. Yeah, because I had just got done with a run the night before on Friday. And Fridays are usually my running days. So yes, guys, I literally could not believe it. But that's basically one whole year after I got Little Buff Babe. And honestly, like I had said, there were a lot of shifts, honestly, but thinking back, honestly, there wasn't really that many shifts, because, honestly, after Pittsburgh Marathon weekend, well, I was still working quite often then, but then, like, June, I don't think there was much in June. No, there was a lot in June, actually. But like I said then, July came around, but again, well, yeah, I'm talking about the past leading up to that. So then June came around, July came around, and I had the Night Nation run. I had, obviously, the 4th of July in Pittsburgh, right? So I had a lot of stuff going on in July, and then August, boom, right? My grandfather dies a week before, right? And then September, it wasn't much. Honestly, I remember she had wanted me to, take a couple shifts right afterwards. And I was like, sorry, but my grandfather had just died. I can take, these 2 shifts for the other girl. One of the content ones. Yeah, she was one of the content ones. Yeah, one of the content ones. Yep. Yeah, one of the content ones. Being more specific with my goal, obviously, it is the content one with the right? Where does the location one live? Alyssa, where does she live? That content one, guys. Anyhow, let's get back into the video. Anyhow, guys, so yes, I had, told her, I was like, yeah, I can work those 2 for her, but later on in the month, and then September's basically when the hours basically dropped to nothing. I think actually it was like that in July, too, so it kind of reminded me, like I had said, with the paralyzing effect, right? Literally the paralyzing effect. If it was like a drop in the time may have seemed like a drop in the ocean, but it wasn't a drop in the ocean. It was the ocean, right? Every single raindrop that hits the ocean is the ocean. So the ocean hits the ocean, right? Kind of thing. Like, it was absolutely insane, guys. Whenever I had just realized all of that, I was like, no freaking way. And a lot of it, guys, you can also see, she was the 3rd person that I ever got. So a lot of it was kind of, again, exploring the new, again, and I could have sworn I did that last year, though. Like, I could have sworn that. But again, that is kind of stuff that, I mean, I don't keep that information at the front of my head. But yes, anyhow. So yes, you guys will see. She's the third person that I ever got. And I remember I told you guys, like, I was like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, getting one. Not making one, obviously, myself, but, like, getting, like, subscribing to one. There we go. So, I was like, you know, I was thinking, well, why don't I, you know, go explore it, you know, to kind of see, like, what exactly it is, you know. So, anyhow, guys, that was absolutely insane, though. You know, like I said, she is the third person. A lot of it, too, was kind of curiosity, so to say. You know, obviously, right, there is a difference between love and, right? So, I don't really know how to, I mean, you would have to actually feel it and be part of it to understand it, that it is a term that is used in both instances. So, like, I'm here for you, right? Like, I am yours for tonight. Again, the loving kind, not the, right, like, wop, right? Yes, so that is a statement where it can be used for both, right? So it's like, I'm here for you, right? Like, we're gonna do this, right? Like, I'm able to interact with you, right? Like, this is our time, right? To be intimate, right? So to say. So I think for her, though, and I can't speak for little buff babe, but I think that a lot of hers she might just have happiness when, you know, random people can figure it out. I don't know. What? Sorry, guys, for the random interruption. So, yes, a lot of it, too, then, was also kind of curiosity, too. Not trying to compare myself at all, right? Honestly, but, I was, like, a little bit kind of curious. Right? I got a little bit too curious. Yes, I did. I was like, well, I wonder what is actually underneath there, though. Right? So, because I remember, I think it was the day that I saw her Instagram post where she was in the white leggings. I'll have to double check the date on that, because again, I can't go back through and see how often I was on that after I got it, because I'm not my internet service provider, also known as my ISP, but I'm sure I could figure it out. I mean, I'm sure I could call Verizon, right, and say, right, hey, you know, do you want to give me my internet logs? I don't even know if people can request their own internet logs from their ISP. But like I said, guys, so yes, a lot of it too is kind of like, you know, a little bit too curious, right? I was like, you know, a lot of that kind of looks kind of like mine, but not really, though. I mean, you know, maybe only about like 10, maybe 25%. I was like, just a little bit too curious, right? So like I said, though, you know, obviously I didn't have much time, and then, you know, I was getting ready for Florida last year, so there wasn't much time then, and I'm trying to remember. I know, Mumu! Guys, so, pardoning another grammar interruption. Yes. So I do also believe as well, I'm trying to, oh yeah, I remember where I was. So yes, honestly, I do not remember, I think it might have actually been at was it like, again, it's not information I keep at the front of my head, but like I said, you know, every ocean raindrop is the ocean, so the ocean hits the ocean. Yes. And that also then finally gets me into, you know, again, just like 4 months before a year. So still 6 months, right, before anything to actually, like, remember and kind of have it, like, right in front of you, right? Have her right in front of you, right? Not in person, but on the screen, too, right? But again, the screen is much different than, you know, an actual interaction, right, and all of that stuff. But anyhow, guys, so yes, that was absolutely still just insane. So it gets into my, I do want to get into the collage, and then I'll get into the final little snippet here. So The collages are also just easier to just see it like side by side, because there's just something about flipping that one photo and then flip another photo and then just try to compare without them being like right beside each other. So I did want to share that is also a reason for the collages, right, that I've kind of shared. And I've only shared like 3, right, because it's pretty much all that I have. And obviously, yes, I do get rid of them, guys. But yes, so the final little snippet here then is so I'm actually really surprised. Well, actually, no. Let's get into Wondering But Not Lost Wednesday. So I have actually seen a lot of, and this again is another small little thing that comes up and you don't realize it until afterwards, right? You just overlook it in the time. But I did see one of these signs on a Jeep, and it said, "Not all who wonder are lost," right? And then I also saw a shirt that said that too. And it kind of also reminded me of what I had said, right? So not all who engage, right, listen with sound. Obviously, there's no sound with pictures, right? There's no sound with tan line. Yes, obviously. So, what I always think is crazy is, somebody, who, again, wouldn't, even if they had, let's say, true love or a true, like, feeling of love, what love really means, right? So even if they had that for probably 3 days, not all who wonder are lost means, for example, not everybody would be paralyzed, right? Not everybody would be able to acknowledge very far after the time too, right? So it's not like they were just kind of like somehow some people like negatively cope, so you're actually negatively coping after you had a chance to let it have a mark on your life, right? So it's like not everybody who does that is lost, so to say, right? And I always think it's crazy that this has never happened, but it's like whenever you are, right, again, talking about it, right, like the conversation, right, I always think that it's crazy that the people bash you, but then yet they don't, like, put their own stuff out there, too. It's like, right, it's like, don't sexualize yourself and then complain about being sexualized. Obviously, again, wearing leggings is not sexualizing yourself, and don't say you're going to make a collage and then don't make a collage, right? Right, so I obviously made the collage because then I said I was going to make a collage, right? Yes, so I'm surprised that nobody has ever said, though, like, let's say, for example, a police officer arrests somebody for baby corn cobs, right? It's like, oh, okay, so now, right, you're probably taking away the attention off of you, right? So it's like, yeah, you can put my stuff out there to be bashed on, but you don't put your own stuff out there too to have judgment based on that too, right? So that was like a wild thing that also I had kind of brought up last year, right? I'm surprised nobody has ever said that, right? So I'm surprised nobody has ever done that. I'm surprised nobody has ever, said, well, I spend 4 more hours, let's say 5 more minutes on my sex life, but it's only 2 times a month that I spend 4 minutes more on my sex life. Because, for example, right, sexual health and sexual life, instead of having all these different sexes, right, they just say sex life, right? So whether I'm engaging with my pubes, right, while I'm washing them, or I'm engaging with my pubes because I'm shaving them, I consider that a sex life, right? Because, again, there's no such thing as sexual health, sexual this, sexual that. No, it's a sex life, right? So, honestly, I'm surprised again, though, that nobody has ever, said that. But, like I said, though, too, it's also irritating, though, too, right, when that does happen. And, again, they're trying to make you seem like a terrible person. And it's also very frustrating, too, whenever they do this, oh, I'm just going to sit back and kind of just let you talk, right? kind of like the, that officer with the drugs, right? So it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna let you talk. Oh, yeah, you're right. I did just say somebody was trying to take my drugs, and I did just say that's why my girlfriend over here should let me talk, right? Oh, I just told on myself, right? So it's like the worldly version of that is like Blake Shelton, right? Honeybee, right? All I know how to do is speak right from the heart, So that is also irritating, right? Whenever, they're just acting like an nonverbal autistic, right? And you're trying to engage and have open dialogue, right? And again, they just, they say things that say that they want to continue, but they don't want to continue. And you just get, body language, right? Whenever you respond, right? With something that is kind of on topic, right? So, again, guys, I think that is absolutely insane, though, that has never happened. And, I do like, again, the, a person who's truly lost wouldn't be paralyzed, right? And stuff like that. So I do think that that's kind of cool, to add into there. Not all who wonder are lost, but again, all these videos that people make, where they're crying profusely, that is kind of something that people would think of, right? First, the first thing they think of. So yes, I honestly thought all of that, again, was just absolutely insane, guys, that there was literally, again, and that was, again, I'm not my ISP, but it was probably, well, again, that was in May, so obviously, I think there might have been, like, sometime in 2025, but like I said, it's, like, almost like the first time that you, again, not the first time, within the first 10 times that you really dive in, to the page, right? Obviously, yeah, that is just, it goes off what I said, every single raindrop is the ocean hitting the ocean, right? So that was obviously crazy then, like I said, with it, being, again, kind of like a spiritual blessing, right, too, to then, again, be able to, be paralyzed and then also share, and see, just about a year after being paralyzed, right? Not all who wonder are lost. And what a way then to wrap everything up, because again, I don't think there hasn't been really anything that I've added since for a very, 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 very long time on the So Job. So it's kind of cool then to tonight, because when I got back to my car this afternoon, it was officially one full hour, right? Like one full year completely, So that is just absolutely insane, guys. Like I had said, absolutely wild indeed, to have all of that. Again, just, yeah, it's just absolutely insane, all of these years and all of those, again, little different things that I would have never thought would mean anything, but they do, always, right in time. So, yeah, I, again, think that's crazy, and I'm obviously happy to see, again, nothing is broken, right? I've still had that amazing spurt for pretty much the whole past month, honestly, after my encounter and seeing her again. It was so freaking rewarding, guys, to see her again. So yes, yeah, it was just, again, really, really cool, and I wanted to also, again, just come on and get to the bulk of all of that, and I wonder why that has also never kind of came up, So it's like, yeah, right, like, you can bash on me, right, and it's like, oh, yeah, and guess what, since this is, like, a public case, if your girlfriend, right, figured out, it's like, yeah, she would understand why you don't perform well, because, again, that would be an opinion until it would be shown, and then it would definitely be a fact, right? So a fact is that those who are constantly engaging, right, do not know how to perform during actual romantic encounters, right? That is a fact. So it would be an opinion, though, that he would be an accusation as well until it was actually seen, right, and shared, right, so to say. So yes, I do again, guys, think all of that is just absolutely wild. Not all who wonder are lost. You know, and again, whenever you're speaking up and trying to put people in their place, for me, honestly, you just have to look past the people who are just like, I'm just gonna let you do all the talking, right? I'm gonna let your heart talk for you, right? Which again, the spiritual realm of that is speak the words your lips have never known because your heart told you so, right? So it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna let you talk. I clearly don't know when I actually need to intervene, and maybe talk for about 30 seconds in a response to what you're saying, right? Yeah, I do agree with you that not everybody who engages is lost, right? I do agree with you as well that, you know, people can literally be paralyzed, and a person who doesn't want to, or who wants to act just like a person who's negatively coping in the moment, would honestly probably just wouldn't even know it. And it wouldn't even cross their mind at all, right? Because they would again just be going through the motions during the time and going through the motions afterwards because they don't want help, right? So it's like, yeah, it's again, though, you don't, at least in my experiences, I have never gotten that kind of talking back, right? It's always, well, you're trying to drive home your point. No, actually, I, again, am not trying to drive home my point. I'm trying to have open dialogue, and I'm just maybe not doing it as fast as you want it to. So me explaining for a couple minutes is me rambling on. And again, usually when you say that, you don't get any words back. You just get body language. Or at least, again, in my experiences, right? So again, I again think all of that is just absolutely insane. The impression that it left, and then again, bringing that up, honestly, again, about that nurse, right? And then, just again, absolutely insane. All those signs that weren't seen until it's actually done. Absolutely wild, guys. So what a wildly amazing way to end this, anniversary, like for reals, what a way to end this anniversary with literally a final thing that is about 20 minutes. And I've done really good at cutting it down to about 20 minutes this time. So, yes, very happy and excited. And actually, I did really good whenever I saw her at the start of last month as well, So, again, guys, this is just absolutely insane, guys, how well I've been doing with my goals. But this will most likely be the last time that there's ever like a 20-minute talking. Because I literally, again, can't think for the life of me of another thing that might come up that might require like a 20-minute talk. Because, again, there just hasn't been any contact with a lot of people since that time. So, again, a year ago, and then since 2024 as well. So, last Super Lush Life. So, anyhow, guys, we'll officially go ahead and get going. Just want to come on and share all of that. I really hope everybody enjoyed. Wait, so actually really quickly too as well, I did forget to share that, yes, honestly, as far as like the, whenever you, if and when the other person put their stuff up for judgment too, it's like, yeah, you should also have heart rate logs, because more than likely if you are lost and genuinely lost, you will probably, try to have a foot, right, touch where your hand actually touches, right? And then you'll, yeah, you guys get the point, right? So it's like, yeah, why don't we see your heart rate logs, Um, and then also it's like, yeah, maybe we can hear some audio recordings, right? So yeah, it's like, yeah, then I know that, for a fact, right, that you were just, again, only just a couple seconds here and there, or I'm sorry, not at the start of the videos, right, when you know more than likely what the videos are going to be talking about, right, and all of that. Yeah, so anyhow, that was also something that I wanted to share. But yes, guys, like I said, that is pretty much it, honestly. Um, Again, not all who wonder are lost. Yeah, so, yeah, and like I said, it's like, you know, you're making it seem like it's terrible, so again, right? Yeah, it's like, it's just, I think it's a mutual or an okay thing to ask of, It's like, yeah, So, you have that life just like me, so you want to bash on me, so let's put yourself up for judgment too, right? So, kind of thing. Anyhow, guys, thank you again so much for watching. I'll talk to everyone tomorrow. Wait, really quickly as well. So obviously knowing that stuff from my ISP would also be a good um, indicator into the heart rates, right? So, and again, the first time that I remember seeing the video after it was posted, because again, my history myself does not go back that far, right? So speaking of like the heart rate stuff, like that would be crazy, to see. Um, I mean, I really don't know how I would know though, right? Because it's not like any indicator, right? Like whenever I found the heart rate logs between, well, I only have my own heart rate logs from that day. I knew, okay, so it was a morning shift that I worked with her. I remembered she worked, these 2 days usually, right? And I was able to find it. But that, I mean, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Um, Again, and I'm not going to go back through, but I actually would be curious, still, like, what would be, like, I wonder what it was. Because, like I said, I literally froze. I was like, what the heck is going on right now? This is not a place where I need to be, right? In order to engage, right? Um, like I said, I need to be living again in a normal spot, but not a very dark spot. Um, and I also need to leave this area now, right? So it's kind of like that girl, right, where she was always living in the bedroom all the time. So it's like, yes, I was literally transported out. Um, and it was very strange because it should be 100% of the time. Um, and it's 100% of the time good, right? For when I'm out and about. Now, the other girl was different. It was 100% bad. And then it was 100% bad all the time. Whenever she was out amongst others, right? So, yeah, I again think that's crazy, but again, there's no way to know. And then tomorrow, like I said, I'll start my video with my my finding of the time driving behind her before Florida. So anyhow, guys, thank you again, though, so much for watching today's video, and I will talk to everyone tomorrow. It has been a fantastic, absolutely fantastic uh, anniversary. And honestly, doing all that stuff last week, the waterfalls, super lush life activities, right? The run, obviously, that was very rewarding to do all of that. So, and I also probably could have guessed that it was going to be rainy, because we're due for some rain, So, yeah, it was a good combo, to add in last week too, So, anyhow, guys, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Hey everyone, your girl Liz here, Freaky Friday test here. So obviously I thought of two different editions for my video on Wednesday, and I'm gonna do what I had always had brought up in the standout video. Like, I wonder what happens if you change the time stamp on your phone, and then upload the video, right? So obviously. Today is June 12th. I'm going to again do that here. I did want to come on with 2 real quick additions, and then again I'll test it and see, and then you guys will get today's video later on today. Right, so anyhow, again, I'm talking like this is today's video because it is, right? But I'm actually, again, changing the timestamp. So I did want to come on and also share. So since they like asking you weird questions, you can also bring up, right, with wondering but not lost. Do you agree, right, that a person who is not lost, right, or how about this? Do you agree that a person who is lost would be able to be super excited and have time to like blossom standing right with the mountain behind her? Do you agree with that? And do you agree that a person who is wandering to that side of the stuff but ends it lost is also able to only have just a couple seconds on those photos because they know deep down inside that yes, everybody does that, everybody yes, broadcast that to the world. Not everybody, but some people do, right? But they do it in the privacy of their own home, right? So, and they also know that if those kind of pictures didn't exist, SA would be through the roof, right? So for example, right, everybody knows that, right? So it's like, I wonder what would happen if you try to ask that, you know? And also the body language kind of goes off what I had shared before, with like, the second you try to stand up to them or you try to understand, you know, their inclusivity, right? You're a bigot, you're a this, that, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and even the sixth, right? Whenever you try to stand up to them. So also the same kind of body language you get. You don't get like the actual verbal communication of that, right? Like swearing and all this. You just get body language, right? Like you're failing to see something or whatever the body language is. There's so many different possibilities of the body language, right? But you again never get it. So it's like, yeah, you agree with that because obviously, right, like for example, societal understandings and society norms. Sorry guys, grammar interruption, but getting back to what I was saying. So for example, society sets these norms again and these terms that they throw to people and ideas that they come up with. So it's like, for example, a person is considered perverted, right? If they're not in the pro middle ground stance like I just shared with like Blossom, right? And they're turned on by that, right? So is necessarily being turned on necessarily mean you're perverted, or is going the next step mean that you're perverted? Because again, people say that they watch, but they don't just watch, right? They're doing other stuff while they're watching, right? So yes, obviously. So it's like, yeah, does that mean that, again, those people, or does it need to be like the step up, so there's like a low or I don't understand, and then there's like a middle ground, but to actually be considered perverted, you have to be like super, super, super crazy stuff, right? So I don't know, maybe under a bridge tunnel, right? Just all sorts of crazy stuff, right? Yeah, again, I don't even want to go into that extreme realm, but you guys get the point. So it's like, yeah, like, again, you try to ask them that and you just don't get anything because, again, you're the one who's now being inappropriate, right? There's no such thing as matching the energy. It might be the only time you get to match somebody's energy, like that. And I had shared that kind of before. So, yeah, it's like, again, you just never get any answers to the questions, right? You just get body language, right? So, yes, obviously, again, I think that's kind of crazy. But anyhow, guys, did want to come on and share those 2 additions. Then you guys already heard about the wise old owl. They're going to the extreme with the wise old owl whenever they do I'm just going to sit back and just let you kind of talk, again, let your heart speak for you and all that. So anyhow, guys, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow or tonight. I'm super happy and excited to see if this actually works. So I'll talk to you guys tonight on June 12th, that is. Although this upload date might actually say June 10th. Because again, that's what I'm going to try to test. Alright, talk to you guys later. And speaking of those steps too, honestly as well, this is clarifying off, it was basically a year, but 10 months before an actual year, right? I was paralyzed. So, and I was able then to have a smile on my face, and it made me smile, and a lot of other good nostalgia without being in a weird spot, right? Too, right? So, obviously, again, during those times, you kind of feel like you're back in those places, but you feel like, again, you're in the middle ground, right? So, you're simply just walking or doing your job, right, without anything on, right? So that's kind of how you feel, right? And then you're again paralyzed, right? And then again, the spiritual blessing came where, you know, I was able to smile then, and that post made me smile. So yes, even talking about it makes me smile, right? So yes, obviously like that. So, that also again is a clarification into boom, there she is, right in front of me, right on the screen, right? So yes, and obviously right in front of me too, at the start of last month, right? So yeah, just over a month ago, guys. Oh my god. New location month, my favorite, guys. So yes, honestly, you know, that also kind of goes off. Yeah. So that's an add-on to the low, or I just don't understand, medium, and high. Or is there actually 4 parts, right? So, anyhow, guys, let's officially go ahead and wrap this up, and let's work on this video for, again, seeing if it's going to upload in order or if it'll just, yeah. So, anyhow, talk to you guys later.